All right, what's up, my Lowheat sneaker friends? Today we have a classic pair of what I think is high heat. I'm a little behind. I'm like a year behind, but please watch, stick it through, because I have some thoughts and opinions on sneaker collections. If you're new to the game, if you're new to sneaker collecting, my thoughts on paying above retail, retros, Jordan retros specifically, some thoughts on that stuff. So please stick around. That's what I'm bringing to this video, my thoughts, and it will, of course, take a look at these. But yeah, appreciate you if you're watching this, even a year after these are out. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate anyone who's going to subscribe. That would be a solid. I'd appreciate that. Before I get into these too much, I will say, if you're looking for comparisons to the actual 1985 neutral gray Jordan highs, there's plenty of great videos out there. But I watched the Wear Testers channel. I've watched Curated Vans comparison and Sean Go's unboxing and review. So plenty of options out there to watch. And so again, I appreciate if you're here. But yes, I'm going to give you some different opinions than that. I'm not going to go over every single detail and difference. There's other channels that have already done that. I'm going to give you more my thoughts on retros, the price economy, and stuff like that. And pointers for starting, my thoughts on starting sneaker collections with classics like these. So what do we have today? As I mentioned already, and you see in the title, we have the Air Jordan 1 High 85 in white and neutral gray. Size 11.5, that's my size, and these retail for $200. So $30 more than a typical Air Jordan 1 general release. They are moving prices up. I think this year the retail price, just due to materials, supply chain issues, all the above, inflation, you know, the standard stuff, probably also just to get more of that resale market back in their pockets. But first, right away, as you may know, if you know about these, this is the first time these retroed since their original debut in 1985. And the one thing, the big thing about these is, right, they did these in the style of the 1985 Jordan 1, but what they didn't do is match the boxes. So I'm a little confused with that. You get this reverse colored box, the red with the Nike in black. That is opposite of a typical Jordan 1 box. Here's a cover of a typical Jordan 1 box, as you know. They switched it up for this. I see this mainly with the women's Jordans do this a lot. I think there's the occasional men's Jordan that flips it like this. But yeah, so interesting. I don't know why they did that for these. But yeah, so here we go. Here's the unveiling. Oof. I got these off eBay. Let's check these out first, then I'll get more back into it. Damn. As you can see, different paper than normal. A normal Jordan 1. Oof. Oof. These are crispy. Man. Got the eBay authenticity tag there. And you got the retro Air Jordan hang tag. Look at that. I've never owned a pair of original OG Jordan 1 highs, or Jordans, I should say, Jordan 1. So I have never been in possession of a tag like this. That's sweet. Right away. I'm just kind of in awe. This is a clean shoe. I like white shoes, first of all, so it doesn't. Some people don't like white shoes. I'm not a huge fan of all black shoes, but I've been, in my older age, I've been switching it up a little bit. I've come around on some black shoes, but I can't resist an all white shoe like this. I mean, it's got gray, but for me, this is it. I don't care that they get dirty. I'm wearing the metallic red Jordan 1s right now. These are white. They're a little dirty. I don't care. Prefer them all white. Don't get me wrong. I prefer them crispy. But just not a reality of the situation, so, you know, I live with it. I don't mind it too much. These are phenomenal. So, again, comes with the Air Jordan. I got these off eBay. They retail for $200. I put in a bid, everything all in, taxes, fees, shipping. I got these for just under 500. That is a pretty penny to spend on a pair of shoes. I don't do it often, but when I do it for something that I really want, that I've been thinking about forever, and this was the pair. I missed out on these when they first dropped. Unfortunately, I tried really hard, but as the case with Jordan 1s nowadays, they just they're super hard to get, and I was unlucky, didn't get a pair. Sat for a while contemplating, when do I pull the trigger, thought about these forever, and finally now it's been like about a year. I was just like, you know what, I don't think these are going to get any cheaper. It's time to start putting bids in, and I went on all the platforms as I suggest you do, GOAT, StockX, eBay, and I found a brand new pair here on eBay, put in a bid they were accepting offers, and it got accepted, and everything all in came into under 500. Now, if you go on StockX this size, there are the lowest listing is like 450, but as soon as you add everything up, that's going to be over 500. So I think I got a decent, I wouldn't say a deal, but a decent price. Here's the other shoe. And it comes with the neutral gray laces. I'll quick go over a few details on these just in case you haven't happened to watch all those videos I listed off, the other unboxings previously. I'm going to hit a few things really quick here, but then we'll get into the main topic of this video, why you should be here watching mine, what I'm providing different than the others. So really quick, you have a embossed Air Wings logo, not a debossed one like typical. And what makes these unique, they did these in the 85 fashion. So this is the same sort of silhouette molding and shape and form as an 85. They have the like the sizing and date tag right here, similar to what 85s used to have. Thick cut of leather here. It's not super plush or soft, but I think, you know, they're trying to mimic what they were, and this doesn't mean it's bad quality. It just means it's a thick cut of leather. It'll take some wearing in, but then they'll probably last longer, so that's nice. You have this straight up and down heel. That was more classic with the 85s, and you have a more pronounced grip on the toe here. The stars are more pronounced and rigid. Same with the midsole here. Pretty sure I'll try these on a second. I'll show you with the metallic ones that I have on from 2017 the differences, but I'm just gonna hold these up right now. Inside you have a sizing tag, which is cool. That's kind of a throwback. And here I think they checked for the board last underneath the insole here. You can see if we can pull this up. I hate doing this. Anyone else? I'm always like, oh, I'm going to break it somehow, or the glue's going to rip off, or I'm going to damage the insole. I hate doing this. This pains me, but I'm doing this for you guys. So here underneath, you can see it's an actual cardboard board last. They don't do this typically anymore unless they designate that these are the 85 versions. They don't do that anymore, so that's, I'm sure, what the eBay authenticators were checking, and it is indeed that cardboard board last. You have the classic nylon tongue that's standard on Jordan 1s. People say this is a little higher than a typical one. Again, more in line with the OG version. So there's that. Any of the suede swoosh here. I don't think they had this back in the day. I think this was like maybe painted on. But yeah, and a plush ankle liner there. And same thing on this side. So it comes with an extra set of gray laces. I might throw those in. So what I really like about these is that they did a throwback to the 85 construction. They've been doing this recently. They did this with the Beginnings pack, I think, the reverse breads that they released All-Star Weekend a year ago, and now these. Also, they've done it, last video I mentioned it. They're starting to do it with dunks. These acid wash dunks were designed in the same fashion as the 1985 Dunk High. Go check that video out. And as I was saying in that video, I think they should do this more often. I think there's a few exceptions where you deviate from, if you're going to retro something, truly retro it, right? There's certain things where you could make tweaks. If there's obvious comfort things that can be hidden, maybe do that. There's obvious environmental ways to environmentally friendly ways to make things or materials to put in, like if you can change the paper up a little bit or the packaging where it looks the same but maybe is like more environmentally friendly, go ahead and do that. Certain things like that. If you improve the quality without changing the look too much, go ahead and do that. But anything where you're shortcutting or changing things significantly, then don't call it a retro. I don't know why they do that. Nike's now been getting more back as people have been getting into sneaker collecting. People have expressed the desire to get the original ones. They're very interested in the OG releases, and so Nike has finally taken the cue and started to make things like they were originally, which is great. It's just a product of the vintage market and people being interested in nostalgia and seeking this information out. And so I think that's a good thing. I do think that's a good thing. I wish they would do it more. Again, I don't know why they changed up the box like this, but I wish whenever they made a Jordan 85 Jordan 1, they would do it in 85 fashion, include stuff like this. Yeah, so real quick, I'll try these on in a second for you. The one example, though, they released, again, along with these that they had never retroed, they had retroed these lows. Check out this unboxing video. This isn't done. These aren't perfect like the 85 Jordan 1 lows. These are a little different than that construction. The shape is a little different. So this is what I'm talking about. If you're going to go ahead and retro something, do it like as one-to-one as you can. This is pretty good. The leather's great. I love this shoe. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. I just wish they would go all the way with this one. So that's my 2 cents there. But yeah, these are as close to the 85s as you can get. Here, I'm going to show you a pair of 94, 95 breads. These, I think, were pretty close to the 85s. I got these at round 2. I've never really worn them. I've put them on once for a photo, and that's about it. I've tried them on, but that's it. I mean, these weren't dead stock. I got these used. You can tell they're used, but these are in really good condition. You can see all the stars. Very little heel wear. These were just, I think these were worn probably a handful of times and then kept crispy. But yeah, you can see that this is a 95, 94 Jordan 1. And here you have the debossed wings. But the heels, kind of similar. It's starting to slope a little bit more inward. Here, I'm going to put on, I'll show these now. Here, I'll take off the right shoe. But you see here, the heel is not as vertical as the heel there. Can you see the difference? That's because this was probably, heel going inwards is probably more functional, stays on the foot better. So they gradually made these, I think, a little bit more basketball functional, even though it's a 35-year-old shoe or more than that. And you can see the little differences. The midsole there, it's more pronounced, the rippling than here. But yeah, again, check out some of those other videos for comparisons. I don't want to get too much into it. I want to get now to my thoughts on collecting. So as people get into shoe collecting, myself included, you learn about the classics like Jordan 1s. It's a great silhouette. It's hard not to like. Everyone ends up liking these for the most part. And then you kind of get into wanting to collect the originals. You learn that people really like, that 85s are very expensive, and there's not many that exist in good condition, especially. And so the next best thing is retros, right? Well, some retros are even expensive. Those 94s I just showed you, very expensive. God, the 2015 Chicago 1s, 2015 Chicago Jordan 1s are over $1,000, even used. It's crazy. So what I would recommend, if you're like me and like, oh man, I really wish I had some of the original colorways like this. I think this was called natural gray back in the day. They changed it to neutral gray. Not sure why. They didn't like the word natural, but I think these were called natural grays back when they first released. And now just the Jordan brand Nike, they use the word neutral gray. I would say now, so if you're new to the game, you've missed out on some of these retros, don't have a ton of money to buy dead stock retros or even used 85s like me or 95s, that's expensive. Keep your eyes out for things like this. Now, of course, that's like easy to say. Everyone wants these. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but what I'm saying is really put your money where you decide where you spend your money on rather than like nonsense shoes or hype shoes. This shoe, I do not think is going to be retroed in the next 4 years. They retro a shoe, it's usually then on the shelf for 4 years. That's kind of the cycle for Nike. I mean, hell, these hadn't been retroed ever. So because they did this in the classic OG fashion, and it's been so long, I don't think they're going to redo these anytime soon. So if you're going to spend money, this is the time where maybe you spend a little money. Now, something like the Bred Jordan 4s, the black and red Jordan 4s that dropped a year ago, 2 years ago, those are super popular. Those I could see them retroing again in 3 years here. So I don't know if you want to spend $500 on a shoe that's going to come out in a couple years or get retroed yet again in a couple years. This is not as popular a colorway, right? These weren't either. These were kind of the Jordan 1s that got me going a few years ago, that really got me into Jordan 1s. This was my first pair of Jordan 1s, 2017. I love these. One of my favorite shoes ever. Like these two aren't super popular. They're not going to be retroed every 3.5 years, every 4 years. So when you have the chance, you pick up something like this. If you missed out on the lows, now these have crept up. I was telling people to get these while they were cheap. These were under $200. Now they're over $200. You missed out. Eventually they might creep to $300. The thing about these two is like lots of shoes look like these. So you kind of feel bad because you're paying a lot for a shoe that looks like other things that there's facsimiles for. But, you know, if you know, you know. If you really want a Jordan 1, then you got to get these. So yeah, when these things drop and you miss out, get them right away. Like if you were able to get these under 400, you know, if you missed out and you were able to cop these though on the resale market for under 400, I think that was pretty good. So I would look at, I've said this in other things, like if you're looking to collect the Be True to Your School Dunk Highs, those are cheaper than the Dunk Lows. You know, anytime something's retroed and you miss out, think about that because they're not going to be retroed for the next 5 years. Get them while the resale is relatively affordable. They are going to come out with the 85 version of like these Georgetown colorway Air Jordan 1s. Now that's not an OG colorway. That Georgetown navy, blue navy and white, that's not an OG colorway, but they are going to make it in the mold and the construction of an 85. So that's something to consider. You're not getting an OG colorway, but you know, if you like the classic models and you want to keep things OG and truly retro, that's a pair I'm eyeing to get. Again, even though it's not an original colorway, I'm looking to get those, and I would too if I were you. And if you miss out, look at the resale prices. That's, I think, a good one to have. All these things that when they drop, the original colorways, that's just your cheapest opportunity to get that shoe for the most part. Unless you're buying a really beat older retro, that's your best opportunity. I don't think old retros are really worth spending all that much money on unless you're getting something like an 85 or a 94, maybe 94, 95 Jordan 1. Unless it's the first two versions of the shoe, I don't know why you're paying I wouldn't pay a ton for a retro because they will be remade eventually, and that's the time to get them because the construction's newer, they'll be in better shape, they'll last longer. And again, if you're not getting the original one, what's the point in paying a lot of money for a retro when you can just get a newer, cleaner version for cheaper? Probably, you know, when they first drop, these things go for over resale, of course, but you still got to compare prices. They still might be cheaper. So here it is on foot. I think these are dope. Again, my recommendation, if you're starting a sneaker collection and you can't afford, you know, $3,000 on a beat pair of 85s, spend $500 on a pair of these. Spend, you know, whatever. Oh, these were cheap forever. Forever, these were pretty cheap in the 200s. Now they're finally over 300. But you could have got these forever for, you know, not a bad price. And this is an OG colorway. So you just got to really keep your eye out on the prices and build your collection like that is my suggestion. When you look at all these like insane prices on 85s and other things, 95s, You guys strike when you get the chance. Otherwise, these things are going to creep up to like 600. Like, these don't get retroed for 2 years. These things might be $700, and then you don't want to buy the. That's crazy money. This is borderline crazy money as it is. $500. So you got to bite the bullet. Choose wisely with what you spend your money on, and I think these are one of those pairs that are worth it. They could get retroed in the future, but to me, right now, this time, I think it's worth it. This is a great pair to have. A retro piece of history. Not the original, but done as close as you can. So thanks for watching. More Lowheat videos coming up. Please subscribe so you don't miss those. One more thing that I thought of before I go is, again, thank you for watching. If you happen to be watching up to this point, because this is an older shoe that's been released now for a while, so appreciate you taking the time to click on this and watch it. But one thing I did want to say is, if you're going to spend something like I did, this much money on a shoe, do plan to wear it eventually in the nearest future. Like, for me, I'm one of those people who sit on dead stock shoes. I have the best intentions of wearing them, but I tend to sit on them for a long time. Like I said, this will at some point get retroed. Might be 10 years from now, but eventually it will. And then, like I said, the price of this will go down because there'll be another newer, cheaper option. And this isn't an 85, so this waffles in between the two, and the price will go down. So this is meant to wear, in the near future. So when you get these, you're spending $400, $500, $600 on a shoe you should be wearing. This is not something as, like, I think of as an investment. I said the price will go up, but that's just going to be more costly for you to buy. That's all that meant when I said that. Not as like an investment shoe, because they will retro this eventually. Who knows when, but eventually they will, and then the price will come down on these. So I don't know if you want to invest in this at $500 just to go up to $600 to make $50. That's, to me, not a good investment on a material good that you have to store and keep track of. I just mean you should get these now, and before they go too crazy, and then you should wear them, because wear them, and then eventually they will retro these.